superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Road course racing. It's week 4 in New York State, and the SAVE22 Truck Series drivers are ready to take on Watkins Glen, arguably the most favorited road course in NASCAR. 8 corners just shy of 2.5 miles and predominantly right-hand turns. I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld, next to Daniel Cunningham, naturally, with Bradley Cooper in the production truck with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Daniel, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, Logan. Looking forward to seeing these drivers take on Watkins Glen. This track has become a bit of a staple throughout all the Goat Locker series. Pull up, take a quick look at the track map. Opened since May 12th of 1956. That 2.5 mile road course. It says 7 turns. I don't know how many turns this place actually has. I don't know how the inner loop doesn't count as a turn. It's got some number of turns to it. It goes right and left. We're going to watch these drivers have a little bit of fun out there. And the field looks a little bit closer than even what we're used to seeing here at some of these stock car road course races.
This track just really brings it all together. It's multifaceted, with the right-handers being the most predominant corner on the track. And of course, got a couple left-handers that these guys are used to. But, you know, all in all, there's a couple places to keep an eye out for. The S is the carousel. even the penultimate turn can be quite difficult to some of these drivers. As we take a look at our point standings coming into the race today, don't believe that is correct. Actually, we've got looks like quite a few names on that list that aren't in this series. So I'm going to have to say that one is not up to date, not for the right one. So we'll take that down off the screen there. But it looks like qualifying is coming to a close anyways. So we've got a grid to get through here. Take a look at who takes home the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They've been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. And taking home that Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award is none other than the 77 of Mark Whitley, starting on the front row. In track position will certainly be key tonight. Starting next to the 77 will be the 04 of Wesley Burke up here on the front row. I think that's the highest qualifying position so far for Burke this season. It's great to see the 04 up here in the field. Behind them in row number 2, it's the 40 of Ken Huber. Next to the man, the myth, the legend, the 07, the Jam Printing and Promotions, Patrick Drabick in P4. Starting out in 5th, it's the 3 of Michael Kostick. Next to the 51 in 6th, Levi McCarty. Behind them, the 17 of Lucas Lyons starts out in P7. Next, the 27 of Jacob Ellingson in P8. Last but not least, in the top 10, Eldon Stewart in the 1 makes his return to the Truck Series here tonight, and he'll be rolling off next to the 14 of Chance Taylor.
Starting just outside the top 10 here this evening, it's going to be Samuel Joseph in the 65, rolling off 11th. Tyler Justice in the 12th position. In 13th is going to be the 7 of Charles Abert, with James Kaufman to his outside in 14th. 15th position is going to be the 99 of Brandon Wallace, and in 16th, sharing row number 8 with him, is going to be the 20 of Jason Kristen. Starting in 17th position here this evening is the 85 of James Goshen, with the 58 of Jonathan Cofield in 18th. Rounding out the top 20, it's going to be the 64 of Matt Knights and the 12 of Claire Sisk Jr.
In the 21st position, the 02 of Michael Jones, looking to still kind of turn around that bad luck season so far. See if he can work his way up through the field. The 47 of Jason Farrow will roll off in P22. In 23rd, it's the 37 of Michael Seymour, starting out next to the 71 of Daniel Parks in 24th. In 25th, it's Chuck Pegleg Feltz in the 75, next to the 31 of Zachary Minnis. And last but not least, in the 27 car field, it's the 98 of Thaddeus Friel Jr. A couple of EOLs to start this race out. Jason Farrow, Thaddeus Friel, Claire Sisk will all pick up EOLs to start this race out. Lucas Lyons as well, with a 30-second hold penalty. And as well as Douglas Macedo, I believe, has a pass-through penalty, but not in the field today. That will carry over into the next race that Macedo takes part in. Still the incorrect points being displayed here. So we'll get those back off the screen real quick. Trying to get that one sorted out as we make our way through the bus stop and down into the carousel here for the first time tonight. Under pacing, of course. No cautions on the road course. We're going to take it down the short straight from the carousel into turn 7. I'm going to call it turn 7, Daniel. I fully believe that the bus stop should be counted as a corner. I don't know who decided it's not, who decides that it might be, but to me, it's always going to be a corner. That is a very tough section of the track into the penultimate corner. We're going to get them stacked up here out of turn number 8. Pace truck will come off momentarily. Mark Whitley, Wesley Burke on the front row. Pace truck comes off. Rolling up to the extreme scoring restart zone. Green flag waves, and away we go at Watkins Glen for the first time tonight. Look at all the dust being kicked up down the front stretch. Hard braking zone coming up. We've already got the 7 down into the grass on the inside. That's Charles Aber, but he does not collect anybody else. He gets it back onto the racing surface. Mark Whitley gets the advantage over Wesley Burke up the hill through the S's. Burke, Huber, Kostick, and Drabick making up the top 5 behind Mark Whitley. Eldon Stewart able to collect 3 positions on the start from 9th to 6th into the bus stop. Burke putting pressure on Whitley. Whitley
big sideways for Whitley.
Still getting sideways coming out of the bus stop, collects it back up before getting into the carousel. Back down the hill we go, starting to get a little bit of momentum underneath the 77. Puts about a truck length and a half to 2 truck lengths on Burke coming into turn 7. Will Burke have enough to drive back up there and challenge Whitley again? Is Ken Huber starting to apply some pressure onto the 04?
Yeah, and something that the people watching at home may have noticed on that first lap, quite a few drivers using the vast amount of runoff area that we have here at Watkins Glen. All of that area is in play. You can go to those areas. It doesn't give you any sort of penalty. Just kind of like what you see in real life is, contact in turn 1. The 65 of Samuel Joseph and the 27 of Jake Ellingson made some contact there. Joseph comes out on the worst end of it. As you can see, he is losing a ton of ground, but let's go back and take a quick look on the replay. Just side by side, a little bit of contact there. Both drivers going around. Ellingson, let me take that back. Ellingson definitely got the worst of that. Massive damage, and he calls it a night after that. It looked like the engine had actually blown with that front end contact to the wall. So unfortunate start to the night here for both of those drivers, but a DNF on the docket for the driver of the 27.
The meatball flag on display for Ellingson. Smart to immediately tow it back up towards the front. Right behind Eldon Stewart. Again, Stewart gained those 3 positions. We were just on board there with Levi McCarty side by side down the front stretch. McCarty on the inside with the advantage. Can he keep from locking up the tires? No tire smoke there. Stewart out wide through turn 1. Will he get enough room? Falls in behind the 51 of Levi McCarty. Back to where he originally started this race. McCarty took it quite easy down into turn 1 on lap 1, but he's got a lot of driving to do if he wants to catch up to the very fast 77 of Whitley. 7/10 ahead of Wesley Burke now. So we're coming out of the bus stop here. We're already coming up on some of that lap traffic just ahead of Mark Whitley. That's going to be Lucas Lyons after serving his penalty. So set very far back. Did not go a lap down, luckily. But with the pace that the 77 has, Lyons is going to have to find a little bit extra in the tank here to keep himself on that lead lap, just in case that caution does come out. He will be able to catch back up. Of course, naturally, no cautions here at the road course races, but if we have enough of an incident and it's track blocked, it could very well make an appearance here today. Single filed out for the most part here. Some great camera angles here by Dougie Beard coming up the hill through the S's. You see Whitley get a little sideways there as he starts to make that left-hander back. That'll be something to keep an eye on as the tire wear.
I'll be curious to see how these trucks, how the handling changes over the course of the run. A few drivers talked to earlier in the race, earlier in practice rather, it seemed like they did have a little bit of a loose condition. I feel like that is probably going to continue as the night goes on. And just taking a look here, we saw that contact between the 65 and the 27 earlier on the lap number 2 going into turn number 1. Well, after a short confabulation there with race control, the 65 has been given a drive-through penalty as a result of that contact and found at fault for that incident.
And came speeding down pit road as well. So that'll be a speeding penalty. I believe that will be the end of the night for the 65 of Joseph. Indeed it has. He is the second retiree of the race after the incident with Jacob Ellingson on the start of lap 2. Mark Whitley starting to catch up a little bit closer now to Lucas Lyons. So Lyons unable to find the pace he needs to stay out ahead. He'll be the first one to go a lap down naturally here. Daniel, I'll be interested to see if we have any camera angles on that inside wall there, the entry of the bus stop. That's always an awesome camera angle, seeing how close these trucks get to that wall. I hope that we do with this awesome camera pack. That'd be just a cherry on top.
Yeah, that is always one of the coolest parts, is seeing how close the drivers do get to that wall. It does seem like the advantage of cutting it super close to that wall is not quite what it used to be, though. There was just a recent update. I think it was, about 6 months or so ago, they updated this track and actually updated to the new model for the entrance of the bus stop, where it's a little bit wider, the curbs are a little bit more aggressive through there, so it seems like you have to take just a slightly more shallow entrance through there. But still, it's always really cool to see just the different ways that these drivers attack the bus stop, the way they can really throw the truck through there, and just the different lines you can take.
And it all comes down to the braking zone. Just how late you can wait until you try to slow this truck down. But ultimately, that can still end up biting you here. Don't want to lock it up and go through the bus stop, meaning the straight portion here, through the cones, and getting yourself, I believe it's a 5 or a 7 second slowdown penalty. It's quite massive, but at the same time, you gain a lot of ground doing so, so I completely understand it. With the advantage right now of a 1.5 seconds is Mark Whitley at the front. Wesley Burke, Ken Huber, Michael Costa, Patrick Dravick still running up here in the top 5. Taking a look at Eldon Stewart, falling behind Levi McCarty since we saw that pass a few laps ago. But Stewart has a very promising race ahead of him here in his return to the Goat Locker Racing SAVE22 Truck Series. So keep an eye on that number 1. If any drivers make a mistake ahead of you, he can very easily end up in the top 5. A little bit further back, Chance Taylor, Jonathan Cofield starting to catch up with Tyler Justice. Our biggest mover of the race is that 58 of Cofield, currently up 8 positions from the start. Chuck Phelps, Thaddeus Friel Jr. both up 6 positions behind him. I see a lot of 3s and 2s on the movement board here. You have to think a lot of that comes down to that initial lap. Taking a look back here at the 7, Charles Ebert, the driver that was down into the grass on lap 1 into turn 1. Didn't do too bad, though. Looks like he only lost 2 positions from that mistake. Starting to work on James Goshen that has Jason Christen and Brandon Wallace just up the road from them.
Yeah, still a solid run. Didn't give up a ton of time there on that initial incident like you had mentioned. And you talked briefly there about Jonathan Cofield up to the 10th position, by far the biggest mover of the race so far, up 8 spots from where he started. And I know he's a driver that's put in a ton of work into getting better at these road courses. He, he runs a lot of different leagues. It seemed like he was kind of tired of getting beat, to be honest, was just the mindset that he had with it. And didn't really get a ton of practice this evening, so kind of coming in cold for qualifying. Didn't put down the best lap, but so far, really strong effort for him. It's this battle here between Abert and Goshen. Still kind of going on here. Charles Abert in close proximity behind Goshen if he were to make a mistake, but did a nice job just not putting that truck in harm's way. Up at the front, though, Mark Whitley's still trying to get around Lucas Lyons. He's got position on the outside here. We'll see how hard Lucas wants to fight this down into turn number 1. Judging by the little bit of a wiggle there from the 17, I'd say he was pretty late on the brakes trying to stay on the lead lap. But Mark Whitley able to get around him and get some clean racetrack to see if he can stretch this lead out over Wesley Burke.
This is only going to help Whitley here get more of an advantage over Burke. Clearly, Lyons does have the pace to be competitive with some of these front runners. So it'll be a challenge for the 04 to get around. Lyons closes up a lot of that gap up into the bus stop, but gets loose on corner entry after making contact with that curbing, keeps it off of the inside wall. So the 17 willing to take that braking zone. Looked about 25 meters or so later than the 77 of Whitley. Whitley certainly looks like he's trying to save those tires for the long run. 100% fuel load for these 40 laps. I don't know, Daniel, did you get a chance to talk to any of these drivers pre-race and see what kind of a fuel run that we are to expect?
Yeah, anywhere between 25 to 28 laps. So I would expect we'll see most drivers probably split the race in half, come down right around the halfway point, lap number 20 or so. You may undercut or try to overcut by a couple of laps, but not really going to be a huge advantage in running the full 25 laps or anything of that nature by staying out, you know, any longer than that. Just going to be giving up too much time. And just taking a look at the lap times right now, most of our drivers have already fallen off by about half a second or so at the very least from their fastest laps. So I think as the run goes on, you're going to see that trend continue, and probably just doing the even split is going to be the best way to go about it.
Jonathan Cofield makes it position number 9 gain on the event. Side by side through the S's with Chance Taylor. Comes out down the back straight just ahead of the 14 machine. So the 58 starting to find some momentum. 2.5 up the road to the 33 of Tyler Justice. That's another 2 seconds up the road from Justice to Eldon Stewart. So still a lot of room to go here for Cofield. A little bit further back, it looked like a change of position for James Goshen and Jason Kristen. Goshen able to get around Kristen. I believe that was through the carousel section there. Yes, indeed it was. Some nice pass on the inside completed by the 85. Some communication over the race comms. Seems to be that Kristen might have let Goshen have that room to get by. Maybe felt the pressure being applied. Didn't care for it too terribly much, or just being courteous and seeing that Goshen has found some speed. Might have an opportunity to start catching up to the 99 of Brandon Wallace, running P12 right now, and only a second behind James Kaufman up in 11th.
Yeah, a lot of really close battles here. You know, we have a tendency to see road course races get spread out a little bit. Sometimes there's so much track in between some of these drivers. There's not really a whole lot of battles going on, but not the case here this evening. And, you know, one thing I was curious to see coming into this race was, would anybody have anything for Mark Whitley? He won this race last season, started on pole. I'm pretty sure he led every single lap and just took the field to the woodshed. And while he is on pace right now to lead every lap from the pole, Wesley Burke is doing a really nice job of at least keeping him within shouting distance. Mark Whitley has started to open up the lead just a bit now to about 2 seconds, but Wesley Burke has been keeping it pretty close, and their lap times have been pretty even, within about 1.5 to 0.2 one way or the other. One lap Burke would be a little bit faster, the next lap Whitley would be a little bit faster. So really nice job by Wesley Burke coming out here. And you know, we talked about him last week, one of those drivers that's kind of a rising star in Goat Locker, shows a lot of speed at a lot of different racetracks, and proving that that is not just the case on ovals here this evening.
And another driver to keep an eye on too, the 40 of Ken Huber. He is not one to be discounted whenever it comes to road course racing. Phenomenal road course racer. He's also been showing some speed lately on the ovals. Currently running P3 right now, getting hunted by Michael Kostick, but he still has plenty of room. It's about 2.5 seconds between third and fourth, and it's about 2.5 seconds up the road to Wesley Burke for Huber. So he's kind of on an island all by himself. He's gotten around Lucas Lyons. The top three have all passed the 17 machine safely here. So now it's all about just maximizing the driving potential of this truck, seeing just how much you can ask of it and how much you will receive from it. Back a little bit further, taking a look at the 75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz. He's gotten within 0.3 of a second now of the 64 Matt Knights. This is a battle for 17th here on your screen. About 5.5 seconds up the road is the 02 of Michael Jones, who's gained 5 positions since his start, 21st to 16th. Through turn 8, Knights a little bit wider. That will certainly slow down the exit. Let's see if Chuck Feltz has anything to say about it. If he'll take a look to the inside, starts to set up to the inside for turn 1, doesn't quite get there. While attacking, you also have to play defense. Michael Seymour just behind them. Being scored as 6 laps down is the 37, so not into this battle.
And right
Lucas
behind
Lyons
this battle
would
is
be
your
the
race
next one.
leader, too. That is Mark Whitley, who is coming up on this battle. So we'll see if they are able to get this sorted and settled before Whitley gets there. Matt Knight's pulling over to the side, lets the leader by, but anticipate Chuck Feltz will do the same here over in the carousel as Wesley
Burke through the grass.
making a little shortcut there. I mean, man, what a job of hanging on to it, though. That was the old Brad Keselowski and Ambrose line through the bus stop there. Let's go back and take a quick look at this on board. Oh man, good night. No wonder he had to go through the grass. I mean, he didn't have anywhere else to go there. That was a hell of a job to get through that.
37 of Seymour.
Yeah, that was the 37 of Seymour as well as Matt Knights. I think they're just trying to mainly stay out of the way of these guys and inadvertently just kind of end up causing a little roadblock there for the 04. But great job by him to miss that and able to keep it clean for now. Of course, did have the off track, but a lot better outcome than what could have happened.
Levi McCarty comes down pit road here. Looks like now we do have our correct points on the board. Michael Kostick in the lead with that 1 win. Levi McCarty just 3 points behind, also with the win on the season. See Patrick Drabick down there in the 15th. He's picked up the 3rd win before week 4 here. Jonathan Cofield, Wesley Burke, Cody Anderson making up your top 5. Of course, Anderson unable to participate in today's event. Mauricio Ramos in 6th, Tyler Justice, Thaddeus Friel Jr., Chance Taylor, and Brandon Wallace making up the top 10. Coming into week 4, the points will be shuffled after today's event. Race analysis there on your screen as we have gotten into some of the pit cycle here as the 51 of McCarty brought it down. 14.4 seconds in the pit box. So McCarty electing to take tires here just a little bit before the midway point of this race.
Yeah, and he is right at the beginning edge of that pit window. He said about 25 to 28 laps. So this would be about the earliest that you would expect to see anybody come down pit road. And, you know, he's got that win. Why not? Go ahead and put the fresh tires on, see if you can make up a little bit of ground. Doesn't really have a whole lot to lose in that aspect. And speaking of 2 other drivers that have a win on the season, that is Michael Kostick and Patrick Drabick. Really good battle shaping up here for the number 4 position. That is the lap truck of Chuck Feltz that they are coming up on here. Chuck yielding position, giving those drivers the preferred lane through the bus stop. You can see, I mean, they have definitely made the curbing more aggressive here through the bus stop, Logan. I know you're probably a little bit more, well, there's no probably. You are a better road racer than me, although that's a low bar to trip over most days. But in my memory, I don't remember the curbs being quite that aggressive here at Watkins.
Oh, off track behind. He's going to hit
Oh, that's a huge hit.
My goodness.
That was the 64 of Matt Knights. believe that is going to require a tow back to the pit lane. Sitting there in broadside in the track right now. He is able to get it rolling again, but that was a huge hit to the Jeff Gordon tire barrier over there. Let's go back and take a quick look on the V-Speed instant replay. It's through the bus stop all right, heading through the carousel here. Not sure if maybe he just gets a little bit wide on exit. And he hits that rumble strip, and it looks like it upsets the truck just a little bit. And man, what a hit to the end of that tire barrier.
Great job by Seymour to avoid that as the truck came back across the track. And great racer etiquette there by Matt Knights to hold the brakes. Don't try to move in front of anybody. Surprisingly enough, that did not warrant a meatball flag, and there's a lot less damage on the nose of that 64 than I was expecting after such a hard hit like that. Back up here, just outside of the top 5, Jonathan Cofield has caught up to Eldon Stewart through the carousel here, just a quarter of a second separating these two drivers. 4P6. The one goes a little wide there, out of the carousel. Cuts back across the track, way out wide for corner entry of turn 7. Cofield backs it down. Stewart goes off track. Cofield gets a great drive into turn 8. It won't be enough, but he's looking for the crossover to the front straight. Eldon Stewart gets the advantage on corner exit, puts the speed down. He'll be safe here momentarily. Cofield setting up for an inside look. Thinks better of it. Oh, this will be an opportunity for the 58 here to get side by side through the S's. We've seen him do it once already, not close enough to challenge. Cofield not afraid to take these trucks 2 by 2 through one of the most narrow sections of this track, one of the most dangerous sections to be side by side as well. The draft playing in favor of the 58 down the back straight into the bus stop, but doesn't get there. You'd have to think at some point, if the one continues to hold up the traffic there, will Jonathan Cofield maybe give him a little bit of a nudge, some assistance to the outside of the corner?
Yeah, and like you said, he had been making those passes in the S's. That is not typically somewhere that you see passes being made, but just looks like he's just not quite close enough at the moment to do anything with that one of Eldon Stewart. We saw momentarily there on your screen as well. Oh, Patrick Drabick and Michael Kostick, their battle for position heating up as well. Patrick Drabick has been right on the back bumper of that 3 truck for the last couple of laps, just not quite able to find a way around as of yet. And, you know, sometimes you're not even necessarily trying to set up the pass, just trying to make the driver think about it a little bit. Maybe try to get them looking in the mirror just a little bit more than they're looking out the windshield. Force that driver into a mistake, but it's going to be easier said than done with somebody like Michael Kostick. He's a driver that just doesn't typically put a wheel out of place on these road courses. So we'll see if Drabick's able to do anything with him, but there's a couple more green flag pit stops kicking off here just shy of halfway. That's Kaufman in the 25, Chance Taylor in the 14. He has just completed his service. He is down and away off of pit lane. No other takers as of yet, but I would have to think we're going to see the floodgates open
Kostick
here
coming in next. Yeah, Kostick brings it down. He's going to bow out of the battle with Drabick. So the 07 moves up to P4. The 3 brings it down here at the start of lap number 20. Haven't heard any more calls just yet. Eldon Stewart trying to get back around. Gets side by side. Rather, that's the 75. I apologize for that. That's Chuck Feltz staying out of the way of this battle. So it's actually going to be... Well, Eldon Stewart did keep it ahead of Jonathan Cofield. Cofield getting closer now within 0.2 of a second. Down the back straight again. Getting closer and closer. Coming into the bus stop, it seems like, for the 58, but he just can't quite get the drive through. Stewart makes a mistake in the bus stop. Jonathan Cofield will get around. Stewart, a bad entry into the corner. Started to slide out wide take it back here on the V-Speed instant replay and have a look.
Yeah, I think he
Cuts
just
the
drove it in a
inside
little
corner
too
there.
deep. And I think that goes back to what we were just talking about. Sometimes you just want to get that driver in front of you, maybe looking in their mirrors just a little bit. And it's really what it looked like there, that just maybe a touch late on the brakes for the one of Eldon Stewart. And that was the opportunity that Jonathan Cofield needed. Stewart going to go ahead and bring it down pit lane here. Patrick Drabick also on pit lane, and your race leader, Mark Whitley, has elected to go ahead and get his scheduled stop out of the way. He's already down and away out of the box, 4 tires, and good to go to the end here on fuel. As that now will hand the lead over to Wesley Burke pending his pit stop, which I have to think he's going to want to cover what Mark Whitley does and probably hit pit lane here relatively quickly. It's heading through turn 6 or 7, whichever one you want to call it. We'll see if he decides to bring it down this lap. And big slide there through the last turn, but able to get it slowed down. And he will bring it to the attention of his pit crew, as will Ken Huber. Huber electing not to stay out and get a lead lap point here. Thought maybe he might stay out one more lap to try to get that bonus point, but he brings it down pit lane. And that will cycle the lead around to Jonathan Cofield, pending he doesn't bring it down this lap.
He's going to stay out wide through turn 8. But it all depends on the gap here to Wesley Burke and Ken Huber. Because if you recall, Burke was at the front of the field on the start, so he's got a very late pit stall there. He did cross the start-finish line, so he's got 2 laps led to his name. As Mark Whitley up to P3 now, that lead will naturally cycle back to him. And what do you say? We were just talking about some opportunities on the track. What do you say we take the opportunity on lap 22 to thank SAVE22, our title sponsor here of this Friday Night Truck Series. SAVE22 is a 501c3 organization that's dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. You can visit them at save22.vet. We thank them for taking part here year after year, season after season on these Friday night truck races. Great company to work with. Proud to be a part of Goat Locker Racing with them. The 58 of Jonathan Cofield coming around one more time. He does get his lap led here. He did not bring it down, so he will get that extra bonus point that can be so important late in the season. Ken Huber, though, the 40 machine, he's picked up a black flag, I believe, speeding on pit road for Ken Huber. So he will bring it back down through the pits this time and serve that penalty, taking him out of that battle for the top 3. That is a very upsetting outcome after a fantastic start to this race.
Well, and here's the interesting thing about it, Logan, is he's having to come back down and actually serve this penalty, which would tell me it was speeding on exit and not speeding entering the pits. Otherwise, iRacing would have just tacked it on to his pit stop. And normally when you see those speeding penalties here, it's on the entry of pit road, because that pit line sneaks up on you very quick here. You feel like you've got a little bit more room, you can drive it in deeper, but it ends up biting a lot of people. But looks like it was the other way around for the 40 here this evening.
It's kind of crazy to think about as well, because Ken Huber is parked in that 3rd pit stall, so must have been just over the number here. Of course, we saw it earlier, 40 mile an hour down pit road. As he is fully served that penalty now. Must have got a great launch out of the box, because that is a very short distance to get up to 40 miles an hour. But back out on the track is the 40, cycled back to the 16th position, has been lapped now by Mark Whitley. So he'll be the first car 1 lap down if that caution comes out for some reason here tonight. Would receive that lucky dog back on the lead lap. Mark Whitley with a near 6-second advantage over second place. Wesley Burt still holding his own back here, but Patrick Drabick has now moved up to the top 3 with the mistakes made here. So the 07, he's not safe by any means. Patrick Drabick had a much better pit stop, about 0.3 of a second. It was 14.7 for the 07. For the 3 of Caustic, it was 15 flat. So that will equate to our distance that we have between these two. As Caustic was in front of Drabick as they came into the pits. McCarty back in 5th, 11 seconds behind our top 4. Caustic will not go away though. Only 0.8 of a second separating the 07 and the 03. So still right in the race for that 3rd and final podium position. We'll see if he can make way around the Jam Printing and Promotion 07.
Yeah, back a little bit further, Chance Taylor and Eldon Stewart, currently the closest battle for position inside the top 10. Saw those two drivers going at it just a little bit earlier, as it looks like, is that the 02 of Michael Jones that has actually stopped in the bus stop? Saw that just as Patrick Drabick was getting ready to turn through there, and it looked like the 02 of Jones had some damage on that truck and was stopped on the access road there. So not quite sure what happened with him there, but unfortunate end to the evening as he has now towed it back to the pit lane. See if we can pull a replay up of what may have happened to him. I saw that he had actually
Looks like a connection issue there. But yeah, he ends up with heavy damage on the left front. Unable to get that truck refired to bring it back around pit road. Likely the best call just to call that tow truck up. Don't want to get in the way of anybody, but bad luck continues to fall in the way of the 02. Not entirely sure what happened to him with that connection issue. Just seeing the aftermath for Michael Jones. Eldon Stewart, Chance Taylor still hovering around that 0.7 of a second mark. Caustic has fallen off a little bit here from Patrick Drabick, hovering right around the 1 second mark. Charles Abert and James Kaufman back there for the P12 battle, also at the 1 second mark. And then it's Brandon Wallace and James Goshen, about 1.5 seconds. The rest of the field currently separated by 2 seconds or more between cars. So the only issues that we will likely see here would be with lap traffic. We've got the top 13 still on the lead lap. Mark Whitley is about 6 seconds behind Charles Abert right now. About 7 seconds, 8 seconds behind James Kaufman. So it would be... It's very likely to see just the top 9 at this point crossing the finish line on the lead lap here. James Goshen is about a minute behind our leader, Mark Whitley. And these lap times right now being turned around the 1 minute 13 second mark. I think our drone just may have crashed into the back of the grandstands there. That was... Need a little bit more elevation on that entry. Take a look back up at the front at our leader, Mark Whitley. While we have this short break in competition here, let's say another thank you to one of our fantastic sponsors, Glove Station. Here at Glove Station, we are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering on home DIYs to working in industrial environments and everything in between, we've got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, we want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. You can visit them at glovestation.com. We've got a wide variety of just about anything. It's not just gloves, although the name is Glove Station. You've got a lot of protective gear to choose from whenever you go with them.
definitely appreciate their support with everything here. And, while we're thanking league sponsors, let's go ahead and thank another one real quick. The Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, another one of our awesome league sponsors here. They play a pretty vital role in the sim rig giveaways that we do here at Goat Locker to veterans and first responders. They help to find those sim rig recipients. And Logan, I know that another sim rig was just given away this week. I believe that is number 14 or 15 so far, if I'm not mistaken.
It's one of those numbers I can't quite remember. I want to say 14, but Patrick Drabick out and about yesterday delivering that and coming back home to host Goat Talk Live with Eddie Smith there on those Thursday nights. I'm sure they talked about it a little bit. If you haven't checked out that one, make sure you go and check out the Above the Yellow Line media page on YouTube. You can catch all the Goat Talk Lives and from previous Goat Talk Lives, and of course all the future ones as well. Try to get somebody in there to side by side there with Eddie Smith and Patrick Drabick each week. Have a little inside look at what's going on with the league, what's going on outside of the league, more importantly, especially with those sim rig giveaways. It's such a cool aspect to Goat Locker Racing as a whole, everything that they do for the veteran community. So we take a look here at the 04. Wesley Burke still holding down P2. He's got about a 10-second advantage over Patrick Drabick, with 6 seconds behind Mark Whitley. I believe that's Ken Huber just behind him.
A little hit to the wall there off of that final turn for the 04 Burke, but looks like he's all right, all things considered. This currently about the closest battle we've got here in the top 10. That's Tyler Justice riding behind the 58 of Jonathan Cofield. And these two drivers are both actually catching Levi McCarty pretty quickly here. McCarty, if you'll recall, did that massive undercut where he pitted on about lap 16, whereas Jonathan Cofield was one of the last drivers in the field to come down pit lane. Just taking a look here at the lap times. Last lap by, McCarty was actually just a little bit faster, but now this lap, now that Cofield's got some clean racetrack again, a full second faster than Levi McCarty. So at that pace, if Cofield's able to hang on to it, should be able to get up there and challenge for that position, as he's currently about 2 seconds back of Levi McCarty.
And that 2-second gap is closing rapidly here with that clean air on the nose of the 58. There goes the 51 of McCarty diving into the bus stop. Cofield just behind, coming into frame. Be curious to see if we can point out where McCarty is losing this time. I almost want to say it's through that section there that we just watched. Of course, the tires coming into play, being a very vital role in Cofield's drive back up to the top 5, but McCarty will not let that position go easily. Let's see what the lap times look like this time by, as both drivers had some clean air here. No lap traffic in sight. Coming across the start-finish line, McCarty with a 14.403, Cofield a 13.716. So 0.7 of a second faster is the 58 that last lap. The gap comes down to a 1.5 seconds here to start lap number 31.
Yes, still a pretty substantial advantage there for Jonathan Cofield on the lap time. And yeah, at that rate, I mean, he's definitely got some work to do as we're inside of 10 laps to go. He's got a little bit of work to do to be able to get up there and catch Levi McCarty, but a top 5 is not out of the equation here for him at this stage of the race, especially with that 5-lap tire advantage. Take a look on board here with Jonathan Cofield, and you can see just how loose that truck gets when he hits those rumble strips and crosses over them on the exit of the carousel. Just upsets the balance of that truck just enough. Even here through these last 2 turns, just a little bit of counter steer into it. Just being nice and easy with the throttle. Let's take a look a little further back. Ken Huber, a driver that was running up in the podium earlier, did have that penalty because of the speeding penalty, leaving the pits. He's able to get around Kaufman here for the 13th position. He's got Charles Abert directly ahead of him as well. All these drivers are a lap down, but still battle for position. Ken Huber does also have Brandon Wallace that is a lap down currently that he may be able to catch, although that's going to take a little bit more effort as Wallace is substantially farther up the road here, but Huber definitely has the pace to get there.
Just don't know if he has enough laps here to get to the 99 machine. 6 seconds across the line. That time by nearly 2 seconds faster. It's about 1 3/4 seconds over Brandon Wallace, so that might be just enough time for Ken Huber to claim that last spot here for the lap down cars, barring nobody else has any issues. As James Goshen does get passed by Mark Whitley here late in this race, that will leave just the top 9 on the lead lap. Mark Whitley is on cruise control. Speaking of cruising, how about Cruisin' Classics? Located in Columbus, Ohio, Cruisin' Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everybody out of their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down and visit the facility today and check out their website at cruisinclassicsinc.com. I don't know if you've picked up through previous seasons here, but that's one of my favorite segues into a sponsor read, Daniel. The comment of on cruise control or something of that nature and rolling right into a Cruisin' Classics read.
Yeah, to the point that, you know, of course, people at home can't hear it, but we can hear Bradley Cooper, our producer, talking. And as soon as you started, I hear, oh boy, he already knows where it's going, because that's your that's kind of your signature leading into that one. So, yeah, something we've grown used to here over the seasons at Goat Locker, and especially with Cruisin' Classics being as big of a supporter as they are here of everything that we do. Taking a look here on track, Michael Kostick still riding in that 4th position. Patrick Drabick has stretched that lead out just a bit over Michael Kostick. Battle between McCarty and Cofield is starting to get close, though. Jonathan Cofield now within a second to the 51 of Levi McCarty, still closing in pretty good. Last lap they were just about even, but I believe there was a little bit of lap traffic in play. This lap, with nothing between them but air and opportunity, we'll have to see if Cofield is able to close that gap.
Just crested the 1 second mark here to Levi McCarty. This time by will leave us with 6 to go. I think you're completely right. Air and opportunity here for Cofield in the 58, claiming the most positions gained here today with 12 spots. Started out in the 18th position, now up to nearly the top 5. We'll see if he can make that number 13. You know he's chomping at the bit here to get around McCarty. This time by, how are the lap times looking? A 13.8 for McCarty, a 13.7 for Cofield, so still knocking off a 10th or 2 here and there. With 6 to go, he's going to need a little bit more than a 10th per lap. Up through the S's.
Sorry, Logan.
Go ahead,
Meanwhile, Kent Huber, we talked about, can he catch Brandon Wallace? He is on the back bumper of the 99. He's only about a half second back. He has rapidly caught him for position. That is for 11th place. I would say pretty good likelihood that Huber will be able to get that position here within the next lap. Ken putting down some really impressive lap times. See how much of a fight that Brandon decides to put up here with this battle for position. As they work around another lap truck there. This is the 98 of Thaddeus Friel. Stays out of the way of these two drivers to let them settle it out. Brandon Wallace does stretch it out just a little bit there. Let's stretch it out just a little bit here over Ken Huber as they got into the S's. Huber now starting to close that gap back up on the 99 of Wallace. And man, here's the camera angle you were talking about earlier, Logan. them going into the bus stop there is showing the way that they've got to navigate that. But Huber now all over the back of the 99 through the carousel.
And just to tack onto that, they've both been catching up to James Goshen. So if Ken Huber can get around Wallace, he'll have an opportunity to recover after that incident on pit road back up to a top 10 finish. It is an outstanding drive coming out of the 40 machine as he takes a look to the outside of Wallace, crosses him over. Holy
Contact
loose.
between the two of them. Oh, they both keep it going, but Brandon Wallace definitely got some damage out of that on the front of that truck. Let's go back and take a look at this one. Ken Huber had set up the crossover perfectly here on the 99, goes to the inside, and Brandon hits that rumble strip. We've talked about it a couple times here this evening, and as soon as he hits that, the back end of the truck steps out, and it shoves him right into the 40 of Ken Huber. Both drivers able to continue on, but that easily could have been a night ender for both of them.
And the ground that they had just made up on James Goshen goes away within an instant. However, Ken Huber right back on the loud pedal and immediately deletes about a second of that advantage for James Goshen through the bus stop and down through the carousel. I think he'll have enough time to at least make a challenge for P10 here late in this race. 4 to go with this time by Mark Whitley, coming across the line to make it 3 to go here at Watkins Glen. No incidents bringing out that yellow flag. It's looking good here to the end. Wesley Berg still holding on to that second place spot. Patrick Drabick has since extended his lead over Michael Kostick. It's now 4 1/4 seconds between third and fourth place. 25 of Kaufman takes it to the inside. Lets Drabick have that ideal line down into turn 1. Doesn't give up a whole lot of time doing so either. But a great job to keep the speed, nearly matching the speed of corner entry with Drabick. Back a little bit further here on board with Jonathan Cofield. A half second now to P5. Ken Huber has closed that gap up, and he will make the pass through the carousel up to P10 for the 40 around James Goshen. Just behind them, Charles Abert starting to work on Brandon Wallace. We'll take it to V-Speed Instant Replay. Have a look at this pass for Huber. Both of them have a great entry into the carousel, but it looks like a little bit of air taken off the spoiler there as Huber got really close to the back bumper of Goshen. Just pushed him out wide enough to open the door, and in goes through Ken Huber. Phenomenal drive back up to a top 10 finish. Obviously not the most ideal race as a whole, but a phenomenal recovery nonetheless. Back up towards that 5th place battle. Cofield a 1/4 second away from a top 5 here with 2 to go. Will he have enough to get around Levi Bacardi?
Yeah, this by far the closest battle for position that we have right now. This is the closest Cofield has been going in to turn number 1. Not quite close enough to try a dive bomb down into turn 1, but still staying pretty tight to the back of that truck. Let's take a look here up through the S's, and I just noticed something too, Logan. You just talked about Ken Huber making the move up into the top 10. He is actually just disconnected from the session. Not sure what happened there to him, but just a side note there, Huber has disconnected, putting the 85 of James Goshen back in the top 10 as the white flag is out now with the leader, Mark Whitley, crossing the line. White flag presented by Glove Station, quality gloves and protective gear to get you across the finish line. Mark Whitley getting ready to put a cap on an absolutely dominant performance here this evening.
The only laps not led by Mark Whitley were during that pit cycle. Taking a look at the incident that removed Huber from the race, it looks like action down into the bus stop. Hard on the brakes, locked up the rear. Oh, a big
that is a massive hit.
wall.
Yeah, definitely not the ending or the race that Ken Huber was hoping for here this evening. Unfortunate set of circumstances with the incident, but the night is going to belong to the 77 of Mark Whitley, taking him to the woodshed for the second year in a row here at Watkins Glen. The 77 is your winner here this evening with 36 laps led from the pole position.
Might as well go ahead and add one more to it. And it does not look like Cofield is going to have that opportunity. He got so close, but now over a second behind Levi McCarty. Wesley Burke crosses the line in P2. Patrick Drabick coming down the front straight to claim P3 here. Kostick and McCarty will round out our top 5 as Jonathan Cofield could not get there in time. Phenomenal effort coming from the 58. So close yet so far. 0.7 of a second separate 5th and 6th.
Yeah,
take it back
Jonathan
here to the
Cofield.
and see if we can find out what happened to this.
This is on the next to last lap, coming to the white flag here. Cofield gets into the grass just a little bit, trying to give himself as much room as he can to make that arc down into the final turn. And man, that is a really awesome save going through there for the 58. Could have easily looped it around or ended up in the guardrail there. But let's take a look at the onboard of this one real quick here. Gets into the grass, sends the back end around, has a ton of wheel cranked into it, and able to get through there, a little Tokyo drift style, but still comes home with a 6th place finish and the biggest mover of the night, up 12 spots from where he started.
That could easily be a race ender. You know, if he gets any more loose than that, doesn't make that last second decision to, you know, put all the wheel into it and correct that slide, he could easily end up in the outside wall. Let's be back to the live shot here. Mark Whitley putting down his celebration here right in front of the grandstands at the start finish line. A very well-deserved win for the 77 here in week number 4. We're going to take it to a quick commercial break here, have a word with our sponsors, get set up for our post-race show. We'll run through the results as a whole, and of course, interviews with our top 3. We'll be right back, everybody.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Well, we're back in New York at Watkins Glen after 40 laps of action. Let's take a look at where your favorite driver finished this race. Of course, we saw it live, the 77 of Mark Whitley taking home his first win of the season after a phenomenal drive, 37 laps led for the 77 machine. Though Ford Wesley Burke did not disprove anything here. He most certainly improved standings from last season, I believe. Coming home in P2 with the 04 machine. The 07 and Patrick Drabick will round out our podium, gaining one position on the night. Michael Kostick finishes out in fourth with Levi McCarty holding off Jonathan Cofield late in the race, taking home a top 5 finish here with the 58 of Cofield just behind in P6. The 33 of Tyler Justice takes home 7th on the afternoon, with the 14 of Chance Taylor in P8. Eldon Stewart starts out P9, holds on to his position in his return to the Goat Locker Truck Series. And James Goshen in the 85 will round out our top 10 as the first car one lap down.
Finishing in the 11th position here this evening is the 25 of James Kaufman. Charles Aber comes home in the 12th position. Brandon Wallace able to hold on to 13th after that late race damage that he received. Lucas Lyons coming back from that early race penalty from a previous race incident. He finishes in the 14th position. Jason Kristen, quiet night for him, finishes in 15th. Chuck Pegleg Phelps comes home in 16th. Ken Huber in 17th after the late race crash. Thaddeus Friel Jr. comes home in 18th. Michael Seymour finishes 19th. And after a computer malfunction, the 02 of Michael Jones finishes in 20th.
In 21st, it's the 64 of Matt Knights. Behind them, it's the 12 of Claire Sisk Jr. in the 22nd spot. The 47 of Jason Farrow takes home 23rd with Samuel Yosef after contact with Jacob Ellingson. Brought it down pit road, parked it for the night, finishing 24th. The 27 of Ellingson taking home 25th. Daniel Parks and Zachary Minnis not making the grid today, rounding out our 27-car field. Well, Daniel, it's that time of the show here to have a word with our top 3 finishers. And of course, we're going to start with our race winner for the first time this season. Mark Whitley will join us in the V-Speed booth as your winner. Mark Whitley, you've got Logan and Daniel up here. You got a copy.
Gotcha.
Well, a fantastic race starting on the pole. The only laps that you didn't lead were through the pit cycle here. Tell us a little bit about what it took to take this 77 through the winner's circle here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it was just, I really enjoy this track. It's really fun to drive. It's a fast road course. Not a lot of them are high speed like this, especially with these stock cars. They're just really fun to manhandle around. Mainly, I was just focused on nailing that start because I've had a little trouble in the past getting like a clean start. Kind of made a little mistake getting in the bus stop, but I was able to keep them behind us, and then I kind of calmed down and started hitting my marks, and then me and Wesley were just kind of both trading laps there for a while, and I could like inch away just ever so slightly, and then we got through lap traffic. I think I got through it a little bit better than he did, and I got a little bit of a gap, and then it was, you couldn't let up any, because if you let up any, he was gonna be right there. So just pushing as hard as I could without overdoing it. Um, I really thought he was going to try to undercut me. So as soon as lap 20 came, I was like, all right, I'm coming to pit road, like, because I don't want to, have to. We were so even. I felt like if he got in front of me, it'd be really, really hard to pass. So I just wanted to make sure I came down pit road first, so he couldn't get that undercut. And after that, it just seemed like the truck felt a lot better the second run. Like if I could drive it a little bit harder, I could, I had a little bit more clean space. So I was able to pull away a little bit, but it's still, I had to be on my P's, be on my toes. I couldn't, if I made one mistake, then he was going to be, 8-second leak and disappear in a heartbeat here. So, it was, just staying mentally focused and just try to make sure you get through lap traffic and hit all your marks.
Well, really impressive run here. Second season in a row that you've just dominated here at Watkins Glen. Just looking at the all-time stats for this series since it started, you're second all-time in wins, which is really impressive considering this is only your second season that you've run here in this Friday night series. You're 2 behind Patrick Drabick for the overall lead, and you've got 9, he's got 11. You think you're going to be able to pass him for that all-time wins lead before the end of the season?
They say don't count your chickens before they hatch. So, I mean, I feel like we got a good chance at it, but he's still out here running and he's still fast. So, he could extend that lead. We could get to 11, but he could get to 13 or 14 before the end of the season. So it's one of those things where, he's got a two race buffer on us right now, and hopefully we can have a really successful season like we did last season. And if we do, then we might be able to grab that away from him. But you can't never count him out, because he finished third tonight, but he's fast everywhere. So just because the record's at 11 right now, don't mean it's going to stay there. So we're just going to put our head down and aim for some random number that hopefully is good enough at the end of the season to win the championship and maybe get that record.
Looking to take it back to back into the playoffs. You go. Congratulations on your race win here at Watkins Glen. Mark Whitley, who do you have to say thanks to or shout out for your performance here tonight?
Yeah, first, all the league sponsors here that help put on this league. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Lincoln Tech, SAVE22, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, INVETS, ATYL, Alexander PCs, MK Fire Designs, like everybody around the league. It's just awesome calls we got around here. I'm glad we have all these sponsors to help us put on this awesome race. I'm glad I found this league. All my personal sponsors, Brantley over at Harpoon Design, was able to hopefully show off this just beautiful machinery right now, because this might be one of my favorite paint schemes he's ever done for me. So check him out at harpoondesign.com if you want a cool looking scheme like this. And if you're in the market for PC upgrade or a whole new PC, I know it's crazy out there right now, but check out jawa.gg. They're the one-stop shop for all your gaming needs. Best gaming marketplace out there. They got deals almost every day, so check them out. And then I guess last shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast. The race should be fun to go see how everybody else's race went. All the fans tuning in at home make this feel like just like a real race. So I appreciate all them, and I guess I'll catch y'all guys next week, hopefully.
We will see what you can do at Kentucky Motor Speedway next week here on Friday night. Again, congratulations on your race win at Watkins Glen, and we'll see you next week.
Guys, I'm good. Take it easy.
Your race winner, everybody, and we'll move right on here to P2. The driver that is continuing to prove he is absolutely no slouch, Wesley Burke, joins us up here in the V-Speed booth. Wesley, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
What a drive from you here tonight. We're kind of getting used to saying that, really proving yourself week after week. You got 2 laps led, so a bonus point for you here as well. That can always be very vital at the end of the season. Now, you had a little bit of a battle to start the race. It kind of subsided, not so quickly, but you were keeping pace there with Mark Whitley. What were some of the things that you were doing that, kind of kept you up there, or that you felt like you might go back and change that could have kept you a little bit more competitive there? Granted, it's only 8.5 seconds. That's not much here at a road course like this.
Well, I was kind of just trying to pace myself for the most part of the race, trying to save the rears, and it was working out. I was staying with them, but then some lap cars let him by, but broke really early for me, and then they spread out. So I had to split the middle of them and cut the chicane, and just lost 2 or 3 seconds on them. And at that point, it was just like, okay, just ride. I'm not gonna be able to catch him. Just try not to make too many mistakes. When he pits, I'll just stay out a lap longer. Gets that extra bonus point for leading lap.
Well, you're definitely making an impression early on here in the season. And just for curiosity's sake, I had to go back and look at your finishes on the season. At Auto Club, you finished fourth. At Phoenix, you finished third. And then here tonight, you finished second. So the numbers say next week at Kentucky is when you finally break into the win column. Do you feel like it might be an opportunity for you?
I was joking with Pat before he came in here, saying that I finished fourth, third, second. So maybe I can win next week. And then I looked at the schedule and was like, oh, Kentucky. Uh-oh. I don't know about that one.
That's not quite what you want to hear or say there, but it's that's Daniel's job. He's a great statistician here to look all that up for us, and that is a phenomenal question there, Daniel. I got to give you props for that one, but again,
I'll try my best.
Wesley, you're doing a great job here early on in the season. Hopefully the momentum will continue in your favor. You'll pick up that win at some point. I'm sure there's a race on the schedule that you've got circled that you're saying, this is my time to shine. I will have that top step on the podium. But today, you take home P2 at a very tough track and a very tough combination with these trucks. Who do you have to say thanks to or shout out for your performance here at Watkins Glen?
Obviously, I'd like to shout out my team, Sim Racing Pride, and obviously you all in the V-Speed broadcast, Gem Printing and Promotions, SAVE22, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, and everyone that makes Go Locker amazing.
Well, thank you for your time, Wesley, here today. Maybe we'll see you next week on that top step. I'm sure you'll be putting a little bit of practice in to keep that number going upward here once we get to Kentucky Motor Speedway. We'll catch up with you next week. Well, that leaves us with one driver to go here. It's our third place finisher. You all know him as the man, the myth, the legend. It's going to be Patrick Drabick joining us up here in the V-Speed booth. Patrick, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you put the Jam Printing and Promotions truck on the third step of the podium. We're not, unused to that. I can't think of the word there that's proper for that, but we typically see you somewhere around that top five battle, and we saw you battling quite a bit today with Michael Kostick, Levi McCarty early on in the race. It kept it very interesting there for the first 10 laps for you, I'm sure. What were some of the key moments there that you can think of that really set yourself aside and able to climb up that ladder and, gain that one position that you needed to get here?
Yeah, I was having a whole heck of a lot of fun. Walking Glen is an absolute blast. And when we come to these road courses, for me, it just kind of keeps you occupied. You're always shifting, turning, doing all these different types of things. I love it. Have a great time with it. Not as fast as some of these other guys, but, I can typically battle in the top five. And when things kind of sorted out and it was me and Kostick, and I think, he would make a mistake, I'd make a mistake, but I got pretty close to him. When I got real close to him, he ducked off on pit road, and I thought I was a little bit faster than him. I came in the next lap, and I got out in front of him and really just kind of never saw him again. So the rest of the evening was just, dodging a little bit of lap traffic, which everybody was really awesome tonight. And, just keeping the truck safe and keeping it on track to bring home, here in third place.
Yeah, really good run for you coming home on the podium here. This is something we were talking about earlier in the race. And it's not something specifically related to your race, but I know you'll know the answer to this because you just gave away another sim rig this week. Goat Locker gave away another sim rig this week. What number are we up to now? Was that like number 14 or 15 of the sim rigs so far?
So we have awarded equipment to 16 total warriors, and 14 of those have received full simulators.
Okay, so I was at least close. I said it was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So depending on which way you look at it, I might have actually gotten something right. So, for a statistician, I guess I need to be a little bit better and keep track of that myself. But yeah,
If you
solid
tune
run
into
here
Go
for
Talk,
you.
we go over all of that stuff. I mean, you
Look,
just got to tune into Go Talk on Thursday nights.
To be fair,
You would've-
I said that.
You
know,
are
I'm
right,
just-
but my ADHD only lets me watch so much of it at a time.
all right, that's fair.
That's
had a
all I got
question.
for you.
That was it.
That's
I
all
mean,
I. That
I
was my
interrupted, and your whole
question.
train of thought's just gone.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
like I said, ADHD is a hell of a thing. But no, actually, I did have another question for you related to everything. I brought this up to Mark Whitley too. Hey, I've recognized that.
You
That
should've.
looks really familiar. You're trying to distract me again. I see what you're doing. I brought this up to Mark Whitley too.
Yeah.
He's only 2 wins behind you now for the all-time series lead. You going to be able to hold him off this season?
No. I mean, no. I mean, Mark Whitley is bad fast. There's just no two ways about it. And once he starts getting on a roll here a little bit, he's going to get up there and he's going to win the races. We'll see what we can do. I mean, this 07 Chevy, Silverado has been bad fast at a lot of places too. I'm looking forward to some of the tracks coming up, and you just never know what's going to happen. But I mean, Mark just knows where to put his truck at almost every single track. There's not too many tracks he's not good at. He's not good at Auto Club, so I took the win there. So we'll just see. But if he gets up there and takes over the all-time lead, well, good on him. We'll see what happens.
That's what it's all about here at Goat Locker Racing. It's the support for everybody, not just, who might be your favorite here and there, but it's all around as a whole. Patrick Dravick, congratulations on P3. Nonetheless, who do you have to shout out or say thanks to for your success tonight?
Yeah, huge shout out to iRacing and all of the stuff that they do. I think everybody knows, everybody that receives a sim rig from us, iRacing gives them a 1-year free subscription and loads their account with money so they can buy all the cars and tracks they need. I actually have a meeting with them coming up this week to discuss some more things with them, so can't wait for that. They're just a phenomenal organization that has done a lot to support us here at Goat Locker Racing. MK Fire Designs, the sponsor of the sports car series. We still have a lot of those wooden flags. I see some of you have actually ordered some, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Harpoon Designs. I mean, if you check out my car on Wednesday nights, you'll see a really awesome William Byron tribute that Harpoon Designs did for me, and I can't thank those guys enough. And Zach Graphics, who has done a lot of wraps and decals for us on the trucks and things like that, like the real life trucks, not like the truck I drove here tonight, but like the real life stuff. And SAVE22 does amazing things with us. They're the sponsor of the Friday Night Truck Series. And then y'all up in the broadcast booth. I mean, I know it's not easy, and you guys dedicate a lot of time to doing this, and I appreciate each and every one of you, except for you, Logan. So wow. Thanks to everybody. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
You too, buddy. Congratulations once again. We'll catch up with you next week at Kentucky.
All right, brother. See you.
Well, that'll do it for our podium finishers. The quick, I don't know if Pat's right or left-handed, but the jab nonetheless there at the very end. It's always fun here in Goat Locker Racing as a whole. Behind the scenes, you can always join the Discord channel and, of course, hop into one of these series with us here. We race quite a bit. I believe we're up to 10 series and counting. A good portion of them all being broadcasted as well. Daniel, what are your thoughts looking back here at our event at Watkins Glen? It was quite the barn burner.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm glad that I had my mic muted when Pat finished his interview, because I don't think everybody out there in YouTube land needed to hear me laughing the way I did at that. But yeah, what a great race we had. A lot of battles throughout the field. Next week, going back to the oval racing, though, at Kentucky Motor Speedway. That track is one that doesn't really get a whole lot of love anymore. I mean, they don't race there in real life. It doesn't seem to make its way onto a lot of league schedules anymore. But glad that it's on this one, and it should put on a good show for us here next week.
I tell you what, when it does make it onto a schedule, it seems to always put on quite the show. I'm very, very excited for next week's event. And of course, the bye week after that. Then we'll take it down to Texas, Gateway, Charlotte. We've got a whole back half of the schedule to get through. It's a quite a loaded schedule as well. A lot of very good tracks, a lot of very favorited tracks as well. So it's looking to shape up quite nicely here up to that championship 4 race at Homestead, Miami. My favorite track on the service. But for now, that'll do it for today's show. For Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkas, and everybody behind the scenes at Goat Locker Racing, and everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, of course, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, and, I already shouted him out, but our producer, Bradley Cooper, with those Dougie Beard cams, my colleague in the booth, Daniel Cunningham. My name's Logan Threlkeld. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll catch up with you in Kentucky.
I hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here we go, car starts up, we go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.